The Great Eight visits Edmonton in hot pursuit of 99's all-time goals record while the Orange and Blue battle without 97 for the next three. We get you set for the Oilers of the Capitals on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're doing well on this very windy night in Edmonton. Tom Gazzola live inside the EST Satellite Studios in downtown Edmonton. You got Hernan Salas back at EST HQ, totally faking you out with the Oil Stream afternoon intro music, and then quickly switching it up on the fly to the Oil Stream pre- and post-game show tunes. Of course, if you're listening on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player, you can text us, 780-218-9999. And if you're watching on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, all that good stuff. And
well, it seems Tommy has frozen, so we'll continue to work on getting him back here. As let's see here. Yeah, he's just got to sign back in, guys. So welcome to the GCL Oil Stream pregame show as I work to get him back on here. Hopefully it's a quick transition. Here we go. I just got to bring him back in. Don't know what happened there. He just froze there for a bit, and Tommy is back with you now. Over to you, TG.
Hey, okay, sorry about that. I don't know what happened there, but like I said, text us 780-218-9999 if you're on your way home. Drive safe. It is windy out there. It's warmer than it was over the weekend. That's a good thing. We'll see if the action on the ice is hot tonight. Of course, a lot to talk about. We're going to have Steven Whyno joining us shortly from the Associated Press. You'll remember Whyno covering the Oilers in their Stanley Cup run this past spring. And Steve does cover the Capitals. That's his day-to-day beat, and he'll give us the scoop on Washington. Nat, so I was going to ask you, like, we've got a lot that we need to go over, and I'm going to throw the liner out there really quickly, and then I have a few things that are on my chest that I need to discuss. So, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to ejectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Okay. There was a statement put out by the Oilers about an hour ago. I will read it reluctantly.
Please do.
Thank you. For immediate release, January 21st, 2025, Edmonton Oilers statement on Connor McDavid's suspension. The Oilers organization is disappointed, and we share in our fans' frustration over the 3-game suspension of our captain, Connor McDavid. We support him through this process, and the organization and our fans look forward to having him back in the lineup versus Seattle next week. Edmonton Oilers hockey is presented by Molson Canadian, Rogers, Ford, and Scotiabank. What is that? What is that? Unnecessary is what it is. You don't need, I don't know what led to that, prompted it, or who in the organization said, hey, I know, let's put out a press release in regard to the McDavid suspension. We know he's upset. We know the organization's upset. We know the fans are upset. Why do you put out a 2-sentence statement that says diddly squat? And now I've got people texting me from other markets going, what is wrong with the team you cover? And I said, pardon me, one of the best teams in the league, first of all.
Yeah.
I'll start there. I'm just kidding. They are one of the best teams in the league. They have tremendous players, all that stuff. They deserve praise for what they're able to do. They almost won a Stanley Cup last year. I get it. But what is that? And it comes off as petty. It comes off as them being whiners. And I'm telling you right now, Natso, this organization is being mocked right now for putting out that statement.
Tommy, I came back, went to get some gas and stuff, and then Reed was on the break, and he's like, "Yeah, the Oilers put out a statement." I honestly thought he was joking because Reed sometimes jokes around, and I was like, so I went to read it, and I was like, "This is what they put out," and listen, like, obviously you're upset, and
Of
but
course.
like, why are we making McDavid out to be the victim here? Yes, he got tackled, and the Garland didn't let him up. I get it. You're pissed off. The ref blew the call. But he got up and cross-checked the guy in the face. Whether you agree with 3 games, if it was 2 or 1, who cares? And you just said it. I'm on the X, and it's not fans of other teams. It's media all over the NHL saying, "Are you guys serious?" Like, it's embarrassing. It was embarrassing last night seeing some takes from all over the spectrum of people that follow the order, the fans, whatever you want to call it. Not all, but like some of the takes, I'm like, we need to pump the brakes. It's a 3-game suspension. That's it. He'll be back by Monday. The Oilers are still a good team. They've done well without him. Like, we got to stop with this. And I'm with you, man. I share your sentiment where it's like, what was the purpose of this statement? Because I'm looking at it as, okay, as a fan, am I happy with that? But no, as a fan, I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, who cares? He got suspended. He did an appeal. Leave it alone. Get over it.
I'm going to start with this. I don't think 3 games was a good punishment. I thought it was too much, heavy-handed. Department of Player Safety screws up all the time. They got this one wrong. I'm with the fans. I'm with people in the hockey world that say that was not worthy of a 3-game suspension. I recognize that he has been suspended before. I recognize that he has been fined before. But honestly, 1 game would have been just fine. Fine.
I would have been okay with 2. I even said it today on our show. I said, listen, it's when I saw 3, I was a bit surprised. I'm not going to lie. I was too. For both guys. I was like, okay, because you knew both guys are going to get the same, Tom. That's just the way the NHL rolls. They don't have any cojones.
Yes, Myers was worse. It was way worse. I agree.
But like, it's to sit here and all these narratives going around. I'm just like, Tommy, I'm over it. Like, let's just play the damn game.
Please.
I already said it, and it's going to be the question of the night, so we'll get to it. I won't spoil it.
Yeah,
but,
okay.
Like, for me, like, and a lot of great people work at the Oilers. There's not a shot at them, but there's a shot at why put out a statement. There's players all over the sporting world that get suspended for stupid actions during the game. Okay, a bad hit, whatever it is.
Right.
You don't need to put out this statement because it said nothing.
If you're going to put out a statement, say something. That said nothing. It was 2 sentences. It makes the team look bad. And now we're mocking them.
But Tom, I'm looking at the X machine. I'm seeing all these national media. Like, I'm seeing everybody from all over. And who cares? Whatever. Like, you're not going to get offended. It is what it is. But it's a tad embarrassing what's going on right now because we've made such a big deal about this when McDavid is the one that cross-checked the guy in the head.
You can talk about protecting players. You can talk about McDavid being frustrated because he clearly is. Kempe slew-foots him. We see Draisaitl get slew-footed by Hartman last week. We see Garland jump on top of him. Garland did a masterclass in being a rat and being effective, not allowing McDavid to be dangerous in the last minute of the game. Was it over the edge? Should it have been a penalty? Yep, 100%. But to me, the most ridiculous part of everything that's happening right now is how this has turned people into lunatics.
Yes.
And the amount of like vile things that are being said and the statements and the anger that has come out of this. I'm just like, can we tap the brakes for a second here?
Crazy, man.
We collectively, fans, media, whatever, we are getting so mad about Connor McDavid being suspended that it is to the point of like people yelling at each other, wanting to fist fight each other. Today at the rink, I was just like, what the hell is going on? It's so stupid and pointless. Do we like the call? No. Should Garland have gone to penalty? Yes. Was 3 games too much? Yes. Was what Myers did worse? Yes. DOPS screwed up. Now they have to live with the consequences.
And that's
Go out
just
there,
Tom.
focus on Ovechkin and the Caps win the game, and then let's look ahead to Thursday.
And
I'm just
it,
going to leave it there.
Yeah, and you said it the best. Like, this is like everybody's fighting with everybody. Like, no, you're right, you're wrong. Like, guys, this is a sport, a hockey team, it's a game. Like, yes, be upset. I get it. I'm a fan too. And when I was younger, I probably would have acted like many did yesterday. But it's at the end of the day, it's move on. You still have a good team. Like I said, this team is going to be fine. And you don't have to agree with everything. And we rarely ever agree with the Department of Player Safety. Tom, we rarely ever agree, whether it's an
because they usually screw
player.
up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and no one's arguing that, but it's just, let's just let this go and focus on the 3 games this week. Who's going to play on the first line? Who's going to take McDavid's spot on the power play? But we keep going back to this narrative that protecting the players, is it not? Is it like, to each their own, Tom, at this point? I'm just sick of talking about it. It hasn't even been, what has it been, 24 hours? Because this broke over 24 hours. It broke about late 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's unreal the life that this has taken on, man. It's
become silly.
Away. I haven't seen something like this in a while. And we've seen a lot of silly things regarding the Oilers.
This is super silly. Okay. Steven Whyno will be joining us from the Associated Press. Text us 780-218-9999. Nancy, he's asking for the link when you get a chance. Do you want to throw out the question of the night, or do you want to wait?
No, I can throw it out.
Okay, throw it out there.
Yeah, there's 3 big games this week. Tonight with the first place Washington Capitals. I can't believe I'm saying that, but good on them. Thursday against the Vancouver Canucks. Sure, you want to get revenge on the Vancouver Canucks? Beat them. That's it. Seriously. And then Saturday, it's an afternoon affair with the Buffalo Sabres. So, Tom, I said they were going to go 3-0 this week. How many points do the Oilers get without McDavid this week in their 3 games? Let us know on the Nasty Chat, or let us know at 780-218-9999.
I'm going with 4. I think they win against Vancouver. I think they win against Buffalo. Who knows what happens tonight? Maybe they get to overtime. I don't know. Caps have been playing very well of late. What say you? How many points do the Oilers get in these next 3 games without Connor McDavid? Shoot us a text, 780-218-9999. Get into the Nasty Chat as well. I see people texting in regard to our opening portion of the show where we discussed how people are turning into, it's getting childish in some instances.
Tom,
not everyone, but some
people. It got
people.
so bad that there was legitimate questions that if McDavid would bow out of the 4 nations. Like, I can't believe
I can't
believe we even brought that up.
You're right. When I bashfully asked about that today around the rink, very casually, very bashfully, the amount of eye rolls I got about the mere notion of him looking to boycott league events.
Yeah, like, what are we doing?
Like, people are just like, are you kidding me? I'm like, some people are talking about it. Somebody put it out there. And it's just like, is this legit? Please tell me. I don't care either way. It doesn't affect my day-to-day.
Tom, and let's be clear. This is not coming from Connor McDavid.
Right.
So McDavid shouldn't take any heat for this, because it's not him the one saying, I'm going to bow out of these events. I'm thinking, like, nothing has come from Connor, and until it does, I wouldn't believe it.
I believe he is smarter than that, having known him for about a decade now. And I don't think that is something he would do. So anyway, text us. We want to hear from you. Let's get Steve Whyno in here.
I was going to say, I'm intrigued to hear what Steven has to say about
we're going to ask Steve. Let's bring him. He's laughing already. All right, Steven Whyno from the Associated Press joining us now. Steve, good to see you. Thanks for hopping on today. Listen, you're in DC. You cover the Caps. You cover the Commanders. I know it's exciting over there right now with everything that's going on. Ovechkin chasing Gretzky. But you're dialed into the hockey world as good as anyone in the league. What have you made of this entire situation with McDavid?
He snapped. You had the chicken wing incident with Marcus Johansson. You had this. Clearly, like, he deserved to be suspended. Mm-hmm. It's the second suspension of his career. And I kind of like, that's just kind of what happens. I don't know. I wrote the story when the suspension was announced, and I've been seeing the same buzz that you guys have been talking about with, like, skipping events or whatever. And exactly what you just said, Tom, like, having known Connor McDavid for now, I think I've known him since he was 16 years old.
There you go.
Being in Erie, this is not anything that he would do. Like that's crazy to think about. Like, and look, I covered Alex Ovechkin when he got suspended and he skipped the All-Star game because he was suspended the last game before the All-Star weekend and said, "Look, you want to suspend me? I'm not going." Mm-hmm. And that was in his right. And if the All-Star game were this weekend, it would be in McDavid's right as well. But the Four Nations tournament, a best on best, he's not skipping that. He's not doing fewer interviews. He's not going to not be in whatever TV shows. That's not Connor McDavid's style.
Yeah. It's best to be an ally with the NHL, especially in the hockey world. I'll just leave it at that. Steve, I don't know if you've watched like the implosion on social media, but you know what it's like around here. You know that when Oilers fans and Canucks fans don't like something, they share their frustrations, and I'll call it vitriol at times. That side of it, has that surprised you at all? If you've paid much attention to it at all?
It's actually fun. Like I like to see fan bases, organizations. Like there's a rematch. They're playing again. What, this week too?
Yep,
like
Thursday.
There's bad blood there. The fan bases don't really like each other. I don't think the players on the teams really like each other. This would be a fun playoff series to see in the spring if the Canucks can get back into the race. I don't know what they're doing with JT Miller and Elias Pettersson and that whole mess, but like there is something fun to the seeing on social media, kind of what almost like a fan sort of interaction between Canucks people and Oilers people. And the Oilers put out the statement about McDavid and Canucks people are making fun of it. And like, this is, I mean, I don't know, like we're trying to entertain ourselves till we die, right? Like sports are supposed to be fun and this is fun.
The statement, Steve, just give it to me.
Oh! I mean, it's weird. I mean, I think it's a little strange to put out the statement without anything of substance. I mean, obviously, Connor McDavid's not appealing the suspension. When I opened the statement up in email, I expected that to be what the statement was. Connor McDavid is not appealing. He's accepting a suspension. We're not thrilled with it, but I don't know. I mean, he cross-checked a guy in the side of the head, and I'm the biggest Connor McDavid fan as anybody out there, and watching him play. I think he's the most talented player we will ever see in our lifetimes as far as kind of talent and all those other things. But dude deserved to be suspended. And because of his history, it's 3 games instead of 2 games.
There you go. Okay, let's get that crap out of the way. Let's go back to tonight's game. Steven Whyno from the AP joining us now. This Caps team is just crushing it this year, Steve, and they've caught a lot of people off guard. I think people expected them to be decent, but right now they're absolutely on fire. In your opinion, what's led to this record where they're at the top of the league standings, and now you got to look at the Caps and go, that's going to be a scary game for any team that they face?
Yeah, it started, Tom, in June with Brian McClellan just completely redoing this roster, and it was Darcy Kemper for Pierre-Luc Dubois trade, opened up a spot for Logan Thompson, and trading Nick Jensen and a draft pick and getting Jacob Chikrin, and just sort of going out and getting Andrew Mangiapane from Calgary to replace TJ Oshie. Like he did everything right before handing the keys over to Chris Patrick to run this team, of making them ready for sort of the post-Ovechkin era when Alex Ovechkin is retired and no longer playing in the NHL, but also giving this team a chance of contending now. I didn't think they were going to be this good. I thought they were a bubble playoff team one way or another, but everything has worked out about as well as you could expect. Alex Ovechkin is scoring goals at 39 like no one's ever seen in hockey history. Pierre-Luc Dubois has settled in really well as either a number 1 or number 2 center with Dylan Strome. Logan Thompson's been terrific. Jacob Chikrin in a contract year is producing, along with Zach Werenski and some other guys, among the best defensemen in the NHL. And it feels like every sort of dice roll the Capitals made last offseason has worked out incredibly well.
Logan Thompson, you mentioned there, like his record is phenomenal. Just 2 regulation losses in 26 games, 209 GAA, 925 save percentage. Did not make the Canadian Four Nations team. I think there is a good case for him that he should be on there. But I know he was really good with the Vegas Golden Knights, and those were good teams. Steve, how is he having this type of success? It's the best of his career.
Yeah, it's funny because the Capitals actually discovered Logan Thompson. He was invited to one of their development camps even before signing a deal with Vegas. And so they sort of almost got him going on this path. Scott Murray, the goaltending coach, knows Logan Thompson really well. So there's a history there. And look, Logan Thompson, before he got hurt, the year Vegas went to the final and won the Stanley Cup, was their starting goaltender. He was playing a lot. And for the first, until Charlie Lindgren got concussed a little over a week ago, they were splitting games one after the other. And so no one was getting over perfect rotation of Charlie Lindgren and the perfect rotation of Charlie Lindgren and Logan Thompson. And for whatever reason, I don't know.
Steve, reconnect. Your screen went black. We can still hear you. Just reconnect. But we'll finish up that thought when Steve reconnects it. I think that happened to Matt Cassian earlier in the day. Let's get to a couple of texts before Steve joins us. He's just going to reconnect here. Roland says the boycotting NHL events came after the game from our friend Bob. Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense because Bob would be fired up, and he is very passionate, and he works for the team. So I don't know how much I would put into that and say it's more so emotion than anything. All right, Whyno's good to go. Steven Whyno from the AP. You're talking about Logan Thompson. The screen went blank.
Yeah, the screen went completely blank. Like Logan Thompson shutouts back to back. Almost became the first player in franchise history to have 3 consecutive shutouts. But it was fascinating to see after Charlie Lindgren goes down, that Logan Thompson took control and was the NHL's first star of the week. This is a guy who as long as he stays healthy and Charlie Lindgren stays healthy, they have a shot at winning the division, being atop of the Eastern Conference. All right,
Steven Whyno joining us from the Associated Press as we look at this Capitals lineup. Taking on the Oilers tonight. The Caps rolling along quite nicely. Let's talk about a couple of guys that I'm looking at their stats, Steve, and I'm like, geez, these guys might be the next wave of stars for the Washington Capitals because it felt like this team was in a bit of a decline. Alexi Poitras and Connor McMichael, are they legitimately becoming future stars for this Caps team if they haven't already arrived right now?
I think the future star is going to be Ryan Leonard. He was the number 8 pick in the draft right after the Flyers took Matvei Michkov.
Right.
And he's going to be sort of the face of this team. But the Capitals signed Protas to an extension thinking that along with size, big dude, now can also produce. I wrote this the other night. He has 19 goals in 46 games this season. His first 169 games, he had 13 total. Wow. So maybe a little bit of a late bloomer there. But there was a stretch early in the season, Tom, where Connor McMichael was the Capitals' best overall player. And Alex Ovechkin obviously scoring a lot of goals. Dylan Strome has been terrific. But Connor McMichael was second-line left wing. They moved him to third-line center and sort of back over and around the lineup, and he's thrived wherever he's gone. He's not a young player. He's still a young player in the league, but he's not a prospect anymore. He's a full-fledged NHL player, right. And the same thing with Alexi Protas. Even if Nick Dowd were to leave in free agency, I think they see Alexi Protas as a guy who could be a top 6 winger or a third or fourth line center for this team down the road. I know talking to Dan Milstein, his agent, a few years ago, he's like, he doesn't know how good he is. Mm-hmm. And just the confidence that sort of that Spencer Carberry has put into Alexi Protas, playing him with Dylan Strome and Alex Ovechkin for stretches of the season, has allowed him to produce and sort of believe more about his game.
Steve, how much of the success that the Caps are having is on the shoulders of Spencer Carberry? Because I think for a lot of people in the hockey world that didn't know his body of work and saw that the Caps go out and sign him as their new head coach, were like, who is this guy?
Yeah, the Capitals saw him as sort of the replacement for Peter Laviolette even before he went to Toronto. He was their coach in the American Hockey League with Hershey, and I think Brian McClellan, the organization, saw a clear succession line there. And I think it's good for him and good for the Capitals that Spencer Carberry did go to Toronto, worked under Sheldon Keefe for a couple years as an assistant, and sort of got that taste of the NHL. But what's impressed me so much about Spencer Carberry is he came in last year as coach and said, we want to play fast. Mm-hmm. And within 3 days of training camp and the regular season, he's like, we're too old and slow to play fast. And he adjusted everything. He said, we're going to have to play a tight checking game. We're going to have to win games 2-1, 3-2. And then when that stopped working, he said, okay, we got to put pucks on net. We've got to start changing the way we shoot and play. And so he's adapted really well last year to help them get into the playoffs, and has kind of changes his style when there's a little more talent at his disposal this year. Mm-hmm. He can activate defensemen a little bit more when you've got Jacob Chikrin and John Carlson and those sort of guys, Martin Ferravari, able to jump up in the play. They had almost no goals from defensemen last year. They're at that point already this year, midway through the season. And I think a lot of it, the goaltending's been good and all of that.
Right.
And Brian McClellan, I think, even though he's not a general manager anymore, deserves to be GM of the year because of what he did. But hiring Spencer Carberry is also something Brian McClellan did. And he is far and away right now the favorite to win the Jack Adams, and he should be.
Understandably so, for sure. All right, Alex Ovechkin in pursuit of Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals record. I think it's bittersweet for people around here, but listen, if there was no lockout, if there was no COVID cut short seasons, this guy would be well into the 900s, I think. What has it been like covering him, and then now this race and the pursuit of 895? How would you sum it up, Steve?
Dude, it's insane, and just no one scores like this. Like nobody at this age does this. It's something unheard of. And like when I was around the team on a daily basis and traveling, and probably when we met back in 2011, 12 times, that was kind of at the low ebb of his career where. Right. Like teams had sort of figured him out, and he was becoming one-dimensional. And then you have Adam Oates come in, that doesn't work out. He gets fired. George McPhee gets fired. Barry Trotz comes in, and he goes from being like a minus 25 player to not being a defensive forward, but being a little bit better and less of a liability. And it turned his game around, and he's back to scoring 40 goals a season, 50 goals a season, and now in a stretch of hitting 30 every year, more than any other player in NHL history. It's been so cool to watch sort of his evolution over the years. Far more gray hairs, we all do, than then when kind of Ovi was in his prime. But it's spectacular. I know Wayne Gretzky has said he's kind of on board with this. It's going to be really fun as it gets to 885, 890, when this actually becomes a thing and it's a traveling circus that. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know when there was a moment that when he realized it, or I realized it, or I think John Butchercross was one of the first people to bring it up, that this was actually possible. But this is going to happen, and I know Austin Matthews and all that. I don't think anybody's ever going to catch Alex Ovechkin's record.
21 goals in 30 games, 12 assists, 33 points, plus 15, by the way, for those keeping tabs on the plus minus. Okay, Steve. The actual game tonight. No McDavid. Draisaitl's having a hell of a season. Ovechkin in pursuit of Wayne Gretzky. What type of hockey game are we going to see between two of the best teams in the National Hockey League?
I think a more of a tight checking game than we'd expect, and I think this is one of those games where I'd bet the under. I think the Capitals are going to win this game because they haven't lost a whole lot they haven't lost in regulation in forever. I think this is a 1-goal game and probably goes to overtime.
December 29th is when they lost in regulation last. That was a long time ago, and I haven't seen you in a long time. It's so good to catch up a bit. Steve, when you're back in town for the playoffs, because I'm expecting a run here from the Oilers again, beer's on me. You know that, right?
I'll see you in June as usual.
I love it. Steven Whyno from the Associated Press, one of the best. Give him a follow, and he is awesome to hang out with. Great stories, well-traveled, knows his stuff inside and out, and very thankful that he was able to hop on. All right, text us 780-218-9999 if you're listening on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, of course, EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player. Hit us up 780-218-9999, and then of course, if you're watching on EST's YouTube channel, get into the nasty chat. All right, before we get to Sean Bell, I do want to remind folks that we are having our Super Bowl party at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge on Fort Road. We've had a great partnership with them both years that EST has been in business, and it has been a great partnership. They do have the Super Bowl party with specials. Of course, under $10 food and drink menu. There's going to be prizes every quarter, jersey giveaway, ticket giveaway. Of course, probably a 50-50, up to $1,000 in prizing will be given away. Slot vouchers as well. Table game chips. I know people would definitely get a kick out of that. The under $10 menu: smoked brisket cheesecake, $9. Surf and turf, $9.99. Pound of wings, $9.50. Chili cheese hot dog with choice of side, $8. Garlic ribs, $8.50. Bud and Bud Light, $8. Team feature cocktails, $9. Alley Cat 6 o'clock or lager, $8 a can for the tall boys. And then if you want a bucket of 6 o'clock or lager, $29 for 4 of those bad boys. So some great deals there, Hernan Salas, for the party we're going to be having.
Good old bucket of beer, eh?
I love the bucket of beer. Get that ice in there, you pull it out. It's nice and cool. It's sweating a little bit. It is awesome. So we're going to have a great time. It was so much fun last year at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. We're going to do it all over again. No TVs will be broken this year. We promised Renee that was the case. All right, let's get to Game Changers with our game analyst, Sean Bell, in for Matt Cassian. Tonight we will get to the lineups when the teams hit the ice for warm-up in a few minutes. That's coming up shortly. This is part of an 8-game slate on the National Hockey League schedule. Of course, Game Changers brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate as Belzy joins us here.
How's it going, gentlemen?
Hello, Belzy. Good to see you. David Bunting Real Estate, of course. Our guy over at the agency, because he's been a top consistent and top producing realtor at Greater Edmonton for over 17 years. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Belzy, I completely copy and pasted your Game Changers out of my lineup. Idiot. What a mistake.
Wow. Well,
I know. I feel shame.
If you'd like.
Belzy,
I have it.
I have it. Don't worry. Let me work on your mic. Can you put it up a bit on your end as well?
Yeah. Is this better?
There we go.
Just coming in a little low.
Okay. As you guys do that, we're going to go to some text because people have been chiming in regard to everything that's been going on with McDavid. The Wolf, he says that he's hitting up the liquor store. He's getting some 6 o'clock lager, sent a nice photo in. Looks like it's doing well, looking good up on the shelf there. Andrea says she can't wait for the Super Bowl party. It's going to be great. Windermere Matt texting says, not sure if you guys mentioned it, but I've heard through someone who knows Ray Whitney, they're talking about 4 or 5 games until the end when Perros said no, it will be 3 games. Nope, did not hear that. As far as I can tell you, that's hearsay until we hear it from more sources. Troll says, I expect the Caps to fall off at some point. Who knew PLD could have a positive impact on an NHL team? Good for him. Well, Troll, that's a good point, but he did play well in, He had a good year in Winnipeg and a really good year in Columbus. All right, Belzy, is your mic all sorted out? Is it better?
Does this better, boys?
Are we okay with that?
Can you go a little bit louder? It's coming good. It's coming through good. It's just
yeah.
We just want to hear. We want to hear your great takes. So
just want to hear my voice, eh?
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
I'm gonna see you tomorrow, Hernan.
Okay, let's get to Game Changers. Let's get to Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting over at the agency. Number 1, Belzy, because we will get into the McDavid crap right away here again, because we did it at the top of the show. Number 1 on Game Changers, life without McDavid. Go for
it. Yeah, life without McDavid. You've got you're missing the best player in the world because obviously he cross-checked a guy in the head. And now you got to live without him for the next 3 games. And, it's a good test for the Oilers because now you can see where some of the other guys are. Like, what can you contribute to the lineup? There's obviously those bottom end guys that we've consistently talked about trying to find a way to chip in. And pull a player out like McDavid, everybody's going to have to pull up their socks just a little bit more. And now, hopefully, what happens is that contributing, and when he back, you just add another piece to that puzzle, a massive piece, obviously, and the team is rolling a little bit better than what they were before.
All right. Point number 2 on Game Changers tonight, Belzy, top 10.
Top 10, the Washington Capitals are a top 10 team in literally every single category that you can find. I think they're second in goals for, they're first in goals against, they're top 10 in power play, they're, I think, top 3 in the PK. You've got a team right now that is flying on all cylinders. This is going to be a very tough test for them, and they need to find a way to make sure that they're dialed in. Those little details that we've consistently talked about, over the last couple months, these are the type of games where you got to make sure that the details come in, because when a team's going to force you to be 2-1, 3-2, it's one singular event that could change the whole fortune of the game. So you've got to be really dialed in. You've got to be really tight defensively, and you make mistakes. And there's a lot of J's that you can make about, getting to the blue line and dumping it in, or getting to your blue lining and making sure that it's out. It's these games that you need to make sure that every single detail that you have is on point because you don't make, one mistake and then it ends up in the back of your net and costing you the game.
All right, it is Game Changers with our game analyst, Sean Bell. Game Changers is always brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Point number 1, life without McDavid. Point number 2, top 10. Point number 3, Bellsy, raise your level.
Once again, it kind of goes into that exact same, comment that I just had. This is a top 10 team in almost every category. The Oilers have been coming out slow in recent games. You can't afford to do that because if you try to do that, well, you could be down by 3 or 4 by the time that you even say hello. So you got to be out. You got to have your level raised. It's going to be a really good game. Could this, dare I say, be a potential preview for something down the road? You play top 10 teams. You play the best team in the league. You want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. So I think it's a really important time for the Oilers to raise their level. And in particular, some of those players that, may or may not have been at their best most of the season, a la a Nuge, for example.
Right.
Let's see a Nuge get to another level.
How dare you suggest an Oilers and Capitals Stanley Cup final on January 21st?
I'm knocking on wood, so don't worry.
Okay. 780-218-9999. If you have any thoughts or you want to bounce anything off of Bellsy, let us know. Of course, if you're watching, hit that thumbs up button over on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, and you can get at us there or talk amongst yourselves.
Tommy,
As always. Yes, Hernan.
we got lineups. Do you want them?
Let's I want to get Bellsy's take on the McDavid stuff, then we'll go into lineups and we'll do the full spiel. Okay, let's do that. Do you want to add anything to what Bellsy said there for Game Changers?
I just like the point, and I think we talked about it earlier as well. This is an opportunity for a lot of guys to get in Chris Knobloch's mind, saying, okay, this guy I can trust, this guy I can put out there if we need a goal. Jeff Skinner, Victor Arvidsson, Podkolzin, Kasperi Kapanen, all those guys. This is an enormous opportunity. So I'm excited because now, boys, you can't go nuclear. You can't. Right. So you're going to have to find someone within this group to win you the game. So I'm excited to see what Chris Knobloch does with the lines. I know we're going to get to it soon. It might be a blender night. It might not, but I'm intrigued.
Okay. We're going to hang on to those lines. And NASA's going to give them out, but we're going to hit this with Bellsy here. Everything that's going on around Connor McDavid and the reaction, the fans, media, the statement from the team, Sean, you played in the NHL, you played for this organization, you played for other teams. Just your 2 cents, please, and thank you.
I liked what Connor did, and I liked what Connor did.
Yes,
that's my
I get
2
it.
cents on it, because let's be honest. You're the Vancouver Canuck, and you have the 2 best players in the world, and they're down by, and there's urgency in their game. Generally speaking, when there's urgency in both of the games, look out, because the puck is going to be in the back of your net. So you're trying to protect the lead, and Connor Garland decides, okay, I'm going to lay on this player, and I'm going to do everything in my power to take him completely out of it. I'm not upset at you, Connor Garland. Good for you. I'm proud of you.
It was smart.
And then on the flip side, Connor McDavid. You're getting into a battle. There's a little bit of heat. There's a little bit of spice. Once again, you cross-check the guy. I personally think that Connor Garland ducks a little bit, which actually makes him catch, get him. So I think there's a little bit of that happens. But at the same time, Connor McDavid, I am not even remotely upset that you, in my words, and I've said it multiple times, standing there. The one that I have an issue with at most is the referees.
Okay.
This thing goes on for 15 to 20 seconds. I'm sorry, but everything that you see, you can see the emotions are starting to go. You might want to blow the whistle, because those are like, I don't know, there might have been 15 penalties in 15 seconds. Can't do any of those things.
Right.
So blow the whistle. Do your job. Blow the whistle. It's a penalty. Take guys off the ice if you need to and let them finish the game. But in my opinion, you escalated that situation because you allowed it and you knew that there was going to be frustration. I'd be frustrated if some guy was laying on me, and then every time I tried to get up, he tried to drag me back down to the ice.
Right.
I'd be frustrated too, and I'd probably take a swing too. So at the end of the day, it's on the ref. Pure and simple. Both Connors, I'm good. Don't care.
But
Okay.
I don't think,
2 cents.
Tommy, I don't think,
Go ahead.
because there's some people in the Nazi chat saying, like, it's explain to me how that's not a call on the ref. I think everyone
it is a call.
in this station has said the ref should have called a penalty.
Yes.
I don't think
Yeah,
anyone's
I
defending the ref
haven't
in this
even-
situation.
No.
No one
It's
has.
100% a call.
Yeah.
But you got to understand at the exact same time, if you're Connor Garland, tell me that you're not like just getting fist bumped on the way back to the dressing room. I'm not telling you it's right. I'm just telling you my opinion. And I'm just telling you a fact. They won the game.
Yep.
So is he wrong?
Okay, the statement from the team, official statement from the team. You saw it, I hope. And then, like, any other fallout, whether it's media or hearsay that he might bail on league events, which I thought was silly. How do you react to that?
I don't even know. Like, I just, the whole thing is, to me, is being overblown.
Thank you.
Like in every aspect of this. And I'll tell you why. Because when we were playing, and once again, I'm not old man to the clouds. I know I just turned 40. But back when we played and it was 30 seconds and you're protecting the game, you could hear coaches say, guys, it's prison rules. Meaning do whatever you want. A pound of flesh so that you can protect this lead. End of story. That's what used to happen. Like, and that wasn't even that long ago. It might have been 10 years ago. But now we're mad because he's laying on a guy and there's a cross check. Like, usually that's a full-blown melee. And thank God it's not anymore. And we don't have to worry about line brawl in the game. And these guys can do what they do. But it's overblown. The whole thing is overblown.
I miss full-blown melees.
Just leave it where it's supposed to be, like 2 or 3 days ago. That's where it's supposed to be. We shouldn't even be talking about this anymore because it's not that big of a deal. Connor Garland, you did good, kid. Connor McDavid, you did good, kid. End of story.
Oh, baby. Belsey bringing the heat. All right, buddy. Great job on Game Changers, and we'll catch up with you on the post-game show.
Thank you. See you, boys.
There's Sean Bell, our game analyst, in for Matt Cassie. And tonight, Game Changers is always brought to you by Damon Bunting Damon Bunting Real Estate, now with the agency. Okay, let's get to those starting lines and starting netminders. Natso, here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to read the liner. You take us through the lines, okay?
Okay.
For the oil, and I can do the caps.
Sounds good.
All right, let's get to it. The starting lineups, of course, brought to you by South Fort Chev, where you can reserve your 2025 Equinox Trax and Traverse now. They will not last long. They've also got the best discounts on 2025 Silverados, and they won't be beat. See dealer for details at www.southfortchev.com. Hernan Salas, without further ado, give us the updated lines.
All right. This is how the Oilers will line up. First line, Draisaitl between Podkolzin and Arvidsson. Second line, and I'm taking a moment because your mind might be blown. RNH between Connor Brown and Matthias Janmark.
Ew.
Your third line, Adam Enrique with Hyman and Skinner. And then Philp with Perry and Kapanen, Ekholm with Bush, Nurse with Stetch, Kulak with Emby. I'm going with nicknames now, Tommy. And Stewie Skins between the pipes. But that second and third lines kind of just stands out at me, Tom. I don't know what to make of them.
Janmark on the second line with Nugent Hopkins and Brown. Interesting. Hyman down with Henrique. I thought I was standing right beside Chris Knobloch, and I'm pretty sure he said it would be Nugent Hopkins with Hyman. Evidently not the case, unless I misheard that. So, which may have happened because there was a lot going on at the rink this morning. Interesting. So, like Hernan just said, Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Arvidsson, Nugent Hopkins with Janmark and Brown, Henrique between Skinner and Hyman, Philp centering Perry and Kapanen, Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Stetcher, Kulak with Emerson. What do you think, Hernan?
I'm looking at that second line with Janmark Brown and Nuge. Is that going to be kind of a line that's going to go out against one of the top two lines for the Washington Capitals? Because that's a lot of defense on that line. Not a lot of offense. Janmark has the one goal. Brown, he's been good, but he's kind of a streaky guy. RNH's been up and down, so I'm intrigued by that line. They are going to get a lot of minutes because, Chris Knobloch loves Janmark and Connor Brown and Nuge. They're responsible. They're two-way guys. I don't mind Enrique with Hyman and Skinner. That's a lot of skill. They're all veterans. Yeah. They all know what to do. But I truly don't mind that. I'm just a little blown back by that second line there. I don't know what the only thing I'm looking at that line is they have to be one of the shutdown lines because there's not a lot of offense going to come from that.
Joel texted in, all caps as per usual, cringe. I had to laugh at that.
Yeah,
I get it. Let's go to the Capitals. Here's what we're anticipating from Washington tonight, unless they updated it.
Oh, Tom froze again. Let me switch this up. We'll get Tom back here as Tom froze on us again. Oh, you're back, Tom? Yeah, you froze. Yeah, you went away for a bit there, but I'll bring you right back in here. We're having issues. I know Huss cut out on the lock shop. I know Cass cut out for a bit.
I saw that.
On two guys. And then
we had
Whyno, and then this is your second time. So something in the air, Tom.
Something ain't right. All right, let's get to the Capitals lines here as we roll along. On the pregame show for Washington tonight, you've got Dylan Strome between Alex Ovechkin and Connor McMichael, Pierre-Luc Dubois with Alexei Protas and Tom Wilson, Lars Eller with Taylor Radish and Ethan Frank, Nick Dowd between Brandon Duhaime and Andrew Mangiapane. On defense for Washington, Rasmus Sandin with John Carlson, Martin Feravari with Matt Roy, Jacob Chikrin paired up with Trevor Van Riemsdyk. And that brings us to your starting goalies for tonight. For the Oilers, 26-year-old Stuart Skinner, 18-10-3 on the season, 270 goals against average, 901 save percentage, 2 shutouts in 31 games this season, 2-2 record lifetime versus Washington, 253 goals against average, 924 save percentage, 1 shutout in those 4 games. And at the other end of the rink, Logan Thompson goes. 27-year-old is 21-2-3 with a 209 GAA. 925 save percentage, 2 shutouts in 26 games this season. Thompson versus Edmonton has not beaten the Oilers yet in his career. 0-2-1 record, 392 goals against average, 888 save percentage in 3 appearances versus the Oil. So there you go. There are your starting lines. Brought to you by South Fort Chev. That brings us to the Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy Injury Report. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance performance, we treat you like a pro using the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game. For the Oilers, newly signed defenseman John Klingberg, day to day. Of course, he's coming off hip shaving surgery. He was out there on the ice for the Oilers morning optional. He was working with Mark Stewart and Alec Regula. And I'm not going to lie to you, Regula's big, and he moves really well. Smooth skating guy. Both guys, people are like, how did they look? They look good. But I tell them, keep in mind, they were skating on their own with nobody contesting them. And they were just doing drills, but the movement looked nice. So we'll see when Klingberg gets into the lineup, maybe by next week against Seattle, probably for sure, at least by the game against the Red Wings. We will get our first look at John Klingberg in Oilers Silks. Like I mentioned, Alec Regula also on the IR, knee surgery. Evander Kane, LTIR, abdominal surgery, and knee surgery. As for Washington, Sonny Milano, IR, upper body. I think he went out in a non-contact jersey today. I watched him go out on the ice. TJ Oshie, IR, back. Nicholas Backstrom, IR, hip. That is your Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy Injury Report. Hernan Salas.
Tommy, I got conflicting lineups here, okay? So the first ones I read to you were from a media member that covers the Edmonton Oilers, okay? Tony Brar. The Edmonton Oilers on Twitter 8 minutes ago sent out Skinner with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl stays intact. Janmark with Henrique and Brown. Perry, Philp, Kapanen. Then the Oilers just send out the rosters just ahead of the game. And I have the Leon Draisaitl stays the same. But now I have Janmark with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Skinner with Henrique and Brown. So I have 3 different lineups for everybody tonight. So I don't know which one's correct, man.
You know what? Probably both of them tonight.
Well, there's 3 lineups, Tom. 3 different ones.
Oh, probably all 3 then. At some point, there will be those combinations playing in this game. At what point of the game? No clue.
Which one do our Nazis like? We'll just roll with that one because there's 3 different lineups. And I apologize, guys, because the one on Twitter is different. The one they emailed to the media is different. And the one Tony Brar had was different. So,
well, Tony's probably watching, unless he's doing a pregame. They do a quick little pregame thing. Unless he's watching warm up, or sometimes they get tipped off a little bit beforehand what the lines will look like. I know I used to. I don't know. If somebody said what they had at warm-up, that would probably be best. And that would probably be the most accurate, unless they're just playing games with everybody.
Nauber's just playing games with us, man. He's playing with their emotions. He's keeping the Capitals on their toes, Tom. That's what's happening
Sure.
right now.
Yes. The game within the game. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, let's get to some text really quickly as we wind things down. Rip City Step says, I've seen the documentaries on Russian athletes doping. I'm not impressed at all by Ovechkin finding his game again. Ooh, Rip City Step, a little saucy there. I like it. And then also says, I think the Oilers sent Bob on every national podcast he could get on today, and that was probably enough. But the market fans needed the official statement in regard to what the statement said. What else? Troll says, I think Ovechkin is the best player or scorer of all time, but Bruce McCurdy had an interesting point. Oh, Bruce, what did Bruce say? How far back is Ovi if you add in playoff goals as well? Yeah, that's, you know what? Bruce makes a good point there, but they count regular season. But I understand what Bruce is saying. Let's see. Anthony on Long Island says Oilers take 2 out of the next 3 without McDavid. And then we got another one from Adam in Lloyd who says, release the Skinner with Nuge. And I believe that is Aquaman in the gift that he sent into the text line. Anything else on the nasty chat? I saw a few people chiming in there. Thank you, X-Ray J. Likes the look today, provided by Modern Measure. Shout out to the boys, Richie and Jared. I went and saw them today over at Modern Measure. And Nanso, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I just we'll see which lineup wins. I'm intrigued to see that and go from there. So, I mean, it could just be a misprint, Tommy. Connor Brown, Hyman, maybe swap. I don't know. Maybe it's a last-minute decision. But take the one in the middle. Remember when Rocky said that in Rocky 4 when he was seeing 3 draws?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Take the one in the middle.
So,
classic.
Hey, I'm excited, man. This team's it's always great to watch Ovechkin. They got some highly entertaining young guys in Protas who's 6'6", McMichael. They got a nice little back end there. And their goaltender, Logan Thompson, like we were going through his numbers with Gager and we were blown away. Like we knew he was really good.
Yep.
When you look at his numbers, you're like, holy crap, how did he not make Team Canada? Because he's been outstanding. Their special teams are really good too, Tom. So it's going to be a tough test for the Oilers, but I do think they win this one tonight.
Logan Thompson, 0-2-1 versus the Oilers lifetime. 392 goals against average, 888 save percentage. We'll see if the Oilers can keep it that way. The Capitals have been on fire, winners of 4 straight. But Edmonton has played them very well. 5 of the last 7, the Oilers have defeated the Capitals. We'll see if that continues. A big thank you to Steven Whyno from the Associated Press, to everybody who listened and watch iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player, and YouTube. You know we love you. Be fired up, Edmonton. Should be a great game. McDavid-less Oilers. Can they beat Ovechkin and the Capitals? We'll see you on the postgame show.